Well, it's not exactly gardening weather. Soon spring will come, and Albertans will be anxious to get outside and get their garden ready. And every month, our buddy Perry from Classic Landscapes and the Ellerslie Gift and Garden Center drops by with some great tips for your yard. Good morning. Nice to see you, Perry. It's been a while.
It has been. Good morning.
We're going to talk about pruning. Can you actually prune in the, I mean, if it's warm enough, can you prune in the winter?
Yeah, winter or dormant pruning, we call it, is actually the best time of pruning. We talk about dormancy. Obviously, we're talking about plants like this that have leaves in the summer, and it's actually the best time to do it. So you can prune them for structure, you can prune them for health. You don't have to go crazy with it, but it is definitely the best time of the year for pruning.
Any tree, or there's specific trees that you prune?
Any leaf tree, so deciduous tree, it's the best time. Obviously, if you got something like this, I brought a couple samples. So, you know, this in front of me, here is just a pine branch. Pine trees and spruce trees, of which there are several varieties that grow well around here. You want to prune those in the summer, kind of after they've got their new flush of growth. So typically those would be August, later in the year. You would only prune them in the winter if it was something like you had broken branches. Maybe we had a big wet snow and you had a snow load.
Sure.
Of course, trees are very resilient. So just because you have the snow weighing down the branches, you don't need to prune them off. They'll pop back up as the snow melts and things like that as well. But deciduous trees, definitely want to be pruning them this time of year.
But the big question is, which branches? How do you differentiate between ones that need to be pruned or can be pruned and ones that shouldn't?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, we're going to look at something here. I brought a sample, so we'll look at this in front, and you can kind of see. Now, this is a willow branch. The thing about willows and a lot of deciduous trees is that the branches will discolor when they're dying. And so you'll see this. It's kind of quite a bit darker. Some will get even black. Again, you can kind of see the healthy branch here. So it's really easy to tell between the two of these. And so if I'm going to move my hand here, you'll see that there's almost a line here. And so if I'm going to be pruning, I'm going to look to prune it, right across this line here. So basically just under it. So this is a nice healthy branch that we're going to keep. And so again, whether it's a tree or shrubs, it's kind of the same principle. You're going to see discoloration as one of the first signs. If you're not quite sure, you can even scratch the bark a little bit. If it's sort of got a brown ring around it, then you know that branch is dead. Again, you're not going to have the opportunity to, prune tons of branches or scratch branches all over the tree, but you can get a sense that way. It's kind of the first thing we look at. And one of the next things we're going to do, I actually brought an elm branch here. And so one of the other sort of tricks, if we can get a tighter shot, you'll see here that there's some nice thick buds on the end of the branches, and so those are future leaves, and it's going to set that in the fall before. And so obviously when you see lots of branches, like this, we'll see everywhere, kind of has nice buds, all over the place. That tree's going to be leafing out in the spring, generally speaking. There's going to be some exceptions to that. But when I'm talking about pruning, because elms are very challenging to prune. And
well, isn't there actually an elm pruning bylaw?
Yeah, right. And that's what that adds to it. So you can only prune
why
elms.
Is there an elm pruning bylaw?
Well, so the reason is because we have Dutch elm disease is kind of adjacent to us, right? And so Dutch elm disease is spread by beetles that are attracted to wounds. So if you prune, the pheromones that are given off by the tree, the beetles are attracted to it, they carry the fungus with them. And so it's kind of an issue. So what they've done to help control that is you prune it only when the beetles aren't active, again, over the winter. So that's going to be October 1st to March 31st. So we have about a month we can prune elms. A lot of times you're trying to tell, okay, do I know if that branch is good or not? Again, if it looks okay, I would leave it. You don't have to prune it. But again, if it's broken, you see some obvious damage to it, you can prune it anytime. Sometimes a trick you can do in the spring, or excuse me, in the summer or fall, you can even maybe label a branch. It doesn't have any leaves on it. That way when you prune it in the fall, you can easily tell which is which.
What's with this? What's growing there?
Yeah, so this one's always the one that's the most alarming to people, and this is called black knot. And you can see here, black knot looks kind of like sort of a crusty tar growing, most likely on Schuberts or Maydays. It doesn't spread into every kind of tree. It's sort of that class of tree. It's a pretty common fungus that you'll see. And the issue with black knot is that it will spread over a tree. Now, it's unsightly. It'd have to get really bad to kill a tree, but you can control it with pruning. So on a branch like this, I'm going to come down at maybe 6-8 inches, and I'm not going to kind of stop mid-branch. So in this case, I would go to the next branch you can see down here at this saving healthy stuff. Again, bag it, you can burn it. Don't just leave it in the compost pile to spread to other plants.
Okay, we're running out of time. Two quick questions I want to get in here. Once winter and spring comes, how long do you wait to determine if a shrub or tree made it through the winter?
Yeah, I'd wait as long as possible, but obviously a lot of times people by the middle of May, it's springtime, long weekends coming, people feel like it should be leafing out. Some plants just leaf out later. So I'd at least end of May, sometimes early June, even something like a Russian olive. I get so many calls in the spring because people are sure it's dead, but that's not the case.
the final question, something we've used a lot this year is ice melt. What kind of damage is that doing to your shrubs and to your lawn?
If you can limit ice melt use, it's a really good idea. A lot of times that means more elbow grease, more work for us, but the fact is it salts the lawn in a lot of ways, and it can desiccate the plants and dry them out. So if you can avoid extensive ice melt use, I know sometimes we have to do it, but really it's better for our plants and lawn, like you said.
All right, thanks, Barry. We'll talk to you soon. More great ideas on how to make your yard the showpiece of the neighborhood. Check out Ellerslie Gift and Garden. They're located on the corner of Ellerslie Road and Calgary Trail. Got the Classic Landscape Center across the street. More information, 780-988-9888. Visit them online at classiclandscapes.com. They've also got a Twitter handle that you can use. Back up.